And whenever we talk about what it takes to be successful, I like to divide it into several different categories. And the first part is starting off with a good animal. And I think that's about 40% of the total project, is starting off with a good animal, a good foundation of it. And there's a lot of different things that go into it, and when we talk about selection and structure and muscle and all of those things, but starting off with a foundation, you don't have to go out and buy the most expensive project. Oftentimes the most expensive one doesn't always mean it's the best one. Just go out and find a good one, and there's a lot of different sources that you can find these projects, whether it be cattle sales, whether it be private treaty on the ranch, or oftentimes there's many of these projects that are just purchased out of the local livestock auction. And believe it or not, there's plenty of those champions that have come out of those type of commercial cow-calf operations. So start off with a good one. That's 40% of the battle when we think about the success of the project. The next important part is nutrition. And nutrition is about 30% of the project. And you can start off with a really good animal. You can start off with the best animal there is out there that particular year, and if you don't give him the proper, him or her, the proper nutrition, you'll ruin the project. Now, I've seen it time and time again with these projects where an exhibitor starts off with a great heifer or a great steer, but then they just don't pay attention to the details. They don't pay attention to the nutrition program and consistently feed that animal to make sure it's gaining properly day in, day out, and just the overall feeding management. So nutrition's about 30% of it. And then the next important part is the showmanship factor of it, and managing that project and working with it, getting it ready to be shown. And that's about 20% of it. And getting ready to be shown can be the actual showmanship. When you walk in the ring, whenever that judge looks at that animal, it's at 12 o'clock. It can be showmanship, whether it's, if it's a haired show and it's a haired breed, you certainly have got to be able to have the hair, that you've worked with it, you've groomed it, you've trained it, and so you're able to accentuate the good things and hide the flaws of that animal, and that's extremely important part of it, because you can make one that's an average animal with hair, you can make it turn into a really good one. And that the same goes true for slick-sheared cattle. They've got to have their hair worked as well. These slick-sheared steer shows, those cattle that come to those shows that have that velvety look to their hide and their hair, it just doesn't happen automatically. Those exhibitors work that hair every day, rinsing, grooming, and so on. And so the management of it, preparing for show, is, again, 20% of the project. And so if you add all of that up, there's about 90% there. And you may ask, well, what's the other factor of it? And the other factor is that 10%, and I like to term it as luck. Because there's just luck in some things in life, and sometimes things go your way. Instead of being the bottom of the heavyweight class, your steer broke at the top of the middleweight class. Instead of Joe Brown showing up with the great steer, he decided to stay at home on that particular show, and so you were able to win instead of him. So there is some luck involved in it, but it's only 10%. Oftentimes I hear exhibitors say, well, Sue is always so lucky because she always takes home the purple ribbon. But we got to remember, luck is only 10% of the project. And that aggravates me considerably when somebody says, well, they're always just lucky. Yeah, they may have some luck on their side, but there's the other 90% of the project. There's the selection, starting out with a good animal. There's the nutrition, and then there's also the working hard with it. But the key thing to remember, the amount of work put into any project or anything you do in life, the success of it depends on that. So if you put more hard work in it, you put more time into that project, the odds are that you're going to have more success in it.